Black Americans, listen, please stop referring to yourself as African American. That Pan-Africanism, that whole movement to unify Black Americans with Africans, listen, that's a hoax. They want a destiny swap with us. They want to take our culture and our dollars and take it back to Africa. You see what they did with the Essence Festival. If y'all keep feeding into this narrative that we are all the same, they are brothers and sisters, what's going to end up happening is when it comes time for reparation for what our ancestors went through, not theirs, the ones that they sold, not theirs, what's going to happen is they're going to send Black Americans reparations over to Africa. And they are not our friends, they are not our allies, and I hope y'all can realize this and wake up.
These Africans think we something to play with, but we about to show them real quick. First line of business, the African Union. They have decided to seek reparations on our behalf, calling us the 6th region. We are not the 6th region. We did not appoint you to speak for us. When you sold us for whatever products, goods that you received, the transaction was complete then and there. We do not belong to Africa. We are trying to get the cease and desist completed. If you can look in my bio, go ahead and add your support there so that we can go ahead and make sure this gets in front of U.S. lawmakers and they can stop coming to meetings with our lawmakers and trying to get our reparations. They are not going to Africa. We are completely stopping that 10% of the GDP here for Black Americans going to Africa. We're not doing it. We're not supporting you in any goddamn way. In the next line of business, you guys, we're going to go ahead and seek for a travel ban against these Africans. And we're also going to seek to remove the protections of Black Americans from the African people because they didn't offer us their protections when we were going through what we were going through. So I don't know why they want us to be blind, but guess what? Our ancestors died for this, and we not about to play with y'all, and y'all not about to come over here and play in our face and try to cosplay, oh, we're all black because of the skin color. Don't play with us. If it's anybody on this world that know how to fight, it's us.
Black Americans are being tricked into believing that your skin color comes before your citizenship when it comes to the geopolitical times that we are in right now. That makes absolutely no sense. Y'all are standing with people who fly the flags of the countries that they fled. They're flying the flags of the countries that their ancestors could not protect, that their ancestors could not defend, that their ancestors and they did not stay in order to build up. Okay? They've come to your country because America is your country, and they're flying flags from a country that is not your country, and you would choose to stand with them, with these people who don't even have loyalty to their own land, because if they did, they would be there fighting to improve the circumstances in their countries. They're not doing that. They got destructive spirits on them. They destroyed there. They want to come here and destroy as well. I'm not saying this is all immigrants, okay? I'm talking about the people who are choosing to immigrate to a country and then wave the flags of the country that they fled, that they have abandoned, while disrespecting the leadership of this country. And this is who Black Americans choose to align yourselves with, because you have idolized your skin color. You put your skin color over your country of origin. You put your skin color over your country of citizenship. That makes absolutely no sense. You put your skin color over patriotism. You are offended by people who value and defend and protect America. You are choosing to be an orphan in this world. Y'all are inviting the orphan spirit into your existence. And you're not an orphan. You have a home. It's the United States of America. You have a birth certificate. You could get a blue passport. All it takes is a couple $100. You could get a blue passport. You have every single right that any other American citizen has. And you choose to continue to other yourselves. You're choosing to perform victimhood. You're choosing to perform oppression and marginalization. And it makes absolutely no sense at this point when you've had a Black president, you've had a Black vice president, you have so many Black millionaires and billionaires, you got all Black films. I watched Black Panther in Thailand in a movie theater. You got how many all Black Super Bowl performances do you need? You got a whole Black month dedicated to you. You got Black channels on the TV. What the hell else do you need to understand that you are neither marginalized nor oppressed? You are an American citizen and you can do anything that any other American citizen can do. This is coming from somebody who lived in Germany, lived in Thailand, lived in multiple states in the United States of America, obtained multiple degrees, studied on multiple campuses, have held multiple positions in multiple places of employment, have owned multiple homes. All you gotta do is decide that you are a privileged American and be that and walk in that. You are a citizen of the greatest country in the world. If you've decided it's not the greatest country in the world, it's because you are not contributing to it being great. You don't understand greatness. You don't value greatness. You're too bitter. Heal. That's all I can tell you.
Hello and what's up, good people? What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing great from wherever you're watching this video from today, and welcome back to the channel. So actually, in this video, I wanted us to touch on something a bit sensitive when it comes to us as Black people. And I know by now you have come across this online division between Black Americans and Africans, or in this video I might be interchanging African Americans and Black Americans. So some Black Americans are actually not happy with Africans, and they are actually denouncing their Africanness. And family, we need to have real conversations, because this divide between Black Americans, especially those calling themselves FBA, foundational Black Americans, and Africans, or versus Africans, is now growing even louder by the minute, especially on these online spaces. And a lot of it, you can observe, is really rooted in ignorance, in pain, and misunderstanding. And some are actually saying that Africans come to the US to take advantage of opportunities created by the sweat, the blood, and tears of African Americans without showing gratitude or without even giving credit. And some say, in fact, other Black Americans are now actually rejecting their Africanness and want nothing to do with Africa. Today, I want us to try and break this down, and go behind the noise, because there is the deeper truth about how we all see racism, identity, and how we see each other. Now, the fact that I usually come across my Black American brothers and sisters saying they need to be identified as American at this point because they have been in America for 4 or 5 generations, 4 or 500 years. I mean, it just says they come from somewhere down the line before that fifth generation. They have come from somewhere, and after all, it's not Africans that call them African Americans, or try to enforce the blackness, the Africanness in them. No, it's just part of their identity. And I respect someone who feels like they are more American than they are African. But if also you wanna feel like you are also part of your African identity, I'm okay with that. After all, I usually say the unity of Black people isn't a unity of neighborhood. We cannot all stay in Africa or in America. No, we just need to get the truth straight on terms of racism, race, identity, and each other. Now, before we go deep into this, let's have a listen to what's happening here.
Every incentive that Black Americans made to better ourselves in this country and to put in law, we don't get none of that shit. It goes right to immigrants.
I honestly can't stop thinking about the Diaspora war, which isn't really a war. It's just Black Americans and Africans going back and forth. But I can't stop thinking about it because Black Americans defended Africans with our life. We really did. I mean, despite the African booty scratcher childhood taunt, when they said that y'all sold us into slavery, we defended you. Some of us just outright denied that you did that. We defended you as our people. And then you come here and you talk about us like that? See, we thought that when Africans came here, they were coming here to join our fight and our struggle against white supremacy. We looked at it as, oh, now we have more people, that we're stronger together. Our numbers will be bigger, and so we'll be stronger in this fight. But that's not what y'all was coming here to do. Y'all was coming here to make money. It was about capitalism for y'all. And that's why y'all talked about it so bad and called us lazy and said that, we were squandering the opportunities that were given to us here. When wasn't nothing given to us, everything we got, we fought for. And that's the reason why we fought it for you. That's the reason why you could come here and do it. What was you was doing. But we always, as Black Americans, we put liberation above everything else. We put freedom above everything else. So when you come here and call us lazy, when all we ever do is fight for our freedom, that's where we put our energy into. We don't put our energy into capitalism. We do it insofar as survival is concerned, but the fact of the matter is that these things, a lot of the things that were given to you as an immigrant were kept from us. Scholarships, loans, those type of things. So we were happy for you in getting whatever it is that you was trying to get, but we thought that you was going to be fighting for us with regards to the freedom that we were going to get, liberation, that we're all doing this together. But that's not why you came here. You came here to take. You didn't come here to help Black Americans get freed. You didn't even care about the struggle, which on some hand, I understand. To come from abject poverty, you're trying so desperately to get some footing. So I understand that on some level, but you didn't have to talk down about Black Americans and just refuse to understand our plight. I mean, you didn't have to join in, but you ain't have to go with them against us.
So I keep seeing these videos about Africans apologizing to Black Americans, right, for the treatment. And let me just say this. I don't know what it is about Africans not liking us. I don't know what it is. Y'all act like we have actually done something wrong to y'all when all we've ever done was fight just to survive, just to be recognized, to be noticed. And now we got problems with y'all, the same color. This is what I'm saying. We can't win for losing. Let me say this. I think it's very disrespectful when you go to get your hair braided and these women are speaking in their native tongue and they're talking about you. I think it's, come on now. Like, you'll come over here and get our money, but then you talk about us like dogs. But why are you over here? Well, why not just stay in your country and get the money? Because they don't treat y'all right over there. So you come over here and then y'all think y'all gonna dog us. And wrong answers. Because let me tell you something. If every Black woman that loves getting her hair braided, if we stopped getting our hair braided, y'all asses is in trouble. So please, okay, I'm gonna need y'all to get that shit together, because I have a friend that lives in Canada and she is catching hell from the African community. Do you understand? She is catching pure hell. They're not nice. They're mean. And when I say mean, I mean mean to the damn bone. Y'all need to get it together and figure out what the problem is that y'all have with us. We don't have a problem with y'all. Then you have these shops y'all want us to come in and buy. You barely even speak to us. If you can't speak to me, I'm not spending my money there. And y'all have some beautiful uh, y'all have some beautiful materials. Y'all have beautiful items that I would love to buy. But I'd be damned if I'm a step in an African shop and you don't speak to me, or you don't like me, and we the same colors. Get this shit together.
Black American people need to stop identifying as African American. Yeah, I said it. We are not African. That is the problem. That is why Africans feel so comfortable coming in and infiltrating Black spaces like Essence Fest, because they think we all one and the same, one band, one sound. No, 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 no. We are natural born American citizens. We've been here for 4 or 5 centuries, 400 years plus, and we still not identifying as Americans. We're not Africans. That's why they come over here and they feel so comfortable with disrespecting us, because they think they super Africans, right? And we the little peon Africans because they got the direct source of the motherland and they know where they come from and they roots and all that stuff. Of course you do. One generation ago, you got here yesterday. You are the true African American Africans. Y'all come here from Ghana, from Senegal, from wherever, Ethiopia, whatever. Y'all come here and you get your citizenship or plant your roots, whatever. You're Africans - Americans. African Americans. Black Americans are not Africans. I don't have no Africans in my family. Period. I'm from California.
If your country is led by tribalism, religion, and or culture, I can almost guarantee you that the vast majority of the people that's living in that society are living in under like crushing poverty. I mean, and I'm talking about like little to no infrastructure, shanty towns all across the country. Like, and the reason why I'm saying that is because I noticed that a lot of people who are arguing back and forth with Black Americans have a lot of very tribalistic talking points, and it's always hyper focused on like their culture, their tribes and stuff like that. That none of that stuff is marketable, none of that stuff is sellable. So if that is like the main focus like of your country, everybody's all so tribalistic and so divided and just fighting back and forth with each other over stuff that isn't even sellable, that nobody even cares about other than you, then your country is probably going to be destitute. People are arguing back and forth with me about culture and languages and stuff that, like, if you're from a capitalist society, like, nobody cares about that stuff. Like, that's the reason why I feel like a lot of Black Americans feel like Pan-Africanism does not benefit Black Americans, because all of the talking points are always about what we can do for Africa, how we can build up Africa and help Africa, how we can send reparations over to Africa. And it's like, well, what do we get out of that? In exchange for that, you're offering us a connection to our roots, a connection to our heritage, our lineage. Nothing that can help us, nothing that can help build us up as a people, that can actually benefit us, our descendants. Like, I'm sorry, but money in exchange for culture, it's not equal. Like, I'm sorry, you don't have to come with something a lot better than that. If we're actually going to work together in a Pan-Africanist type of way, you got to offer more than languages and culture, because there's just not enough value there. And I'm not talking about raw resources that half of you guys wouldn't even be able to tell us where to even find raw resources, don't even know what to even do with them. I'm talking about real economic growth. I'm talking about, people in my comment section talking about, you don't know your language. Who cares? Let's talk about economics. Let's talk about building. Let's talk about making money. Let's talk about stuff that actually is going to build up societies. All of that tribalism talk is the reason why a lot of these countries look like shit. And I'm just being all the way real, because you're hyper focused on culture and all this stuff that doesn't benefit anybody. Doesn't benefit anybody except you and your site. Nobody's buying that. The only culture that's being bought, honestly, is Black American culture. The United States has done a good job at selling our culture to the entire world, but other than that, most countries can't do that. Okay, like, if you really look at China is like a superpower. They are not hyper focused on their own culture on a global scale. Okay, they're focused on manufacturing. They make everything. Every time there's something, a new trend that comes out, or a new trinket that everybody wants to buy, you best believe that China is on top of their game. They're gonna have that product out by next week, because their focus is on the capitalism, the economic part of whatever. They're focused on economics, they're not hyper focused on tribalism and culture. So I have yet to see a society that has all of these tribalistic talking points that is actually successful financially. Get out of your emotions. Those emotions will have you broke, period. I'm not saying that the United States is perfect, but what I am saying is that it wouldn't be so many people that need to flee their country that are suffering. Like, people are suffering and trying to find here, there, and everywhere to go to try to have an opportunity for a better life. They flocking over here. They flocking to the UK. They flocking to different European nations. It's like they're trying to flee because they're the focus of their nation is all this corruption, and that the focus is not on the right things that will help the society build and grow.
Why is it that Black Americans hate Africans?
I don't know. Like, from what I've heard, I guess annoyance that they feel like Black Africans come to the country and they're given preferential treatment because there's this sort of belief that, we work harder and we do this, and but therefore we're like the good model minority. Yeah. Which in turn makes them look bad. Yeah. And that even though, I mean, the FDA and the ADOS lot, they say that they can distinguish who's Black American and who's African. And I can't. They say that there's like so many different, like, you can easily distinguish and all that, which I think is a whole load of cap. There may be some truths to it. Like, at the end of the day, we know how white supremacy works, right? Yeah. And it does absolutely get off on causing division. That's how it's always been. And it's just unfortunate that people are actually buying into it, but they're mad at the wrong people. I just feel like the energy is completely misdirected. And like, even if those differences are there, 'cause I'm going to give them the benefit of doubt and say that there's some element of truth to that. Who is responsible for that?
We need more honesty about the misinformation that's been put towards both of us, because when we've had this discussion multiple times, it's not often we get Black American honesty about the negative stereotypes they have. I say it, we say it, but they're like, no, we were open arms and welcoming. There was definitely negative stereotypes of immigrant blacks perpetuated by Black Americans. So you can say that you're welcoming, but were you? And similarly, what was projected into into Africa and the Caribbean about Black Americans? Just be really honest about the propaganda that happened.
We have to clear this up. We got to clear it up. Let's clear it up. Saying Africans sold out Black Americans is one of the biggest lies ever told. So what happened in Africa in the 15th century? Africa wasn't just one big happy family. It's made up of hundreds of different tribes and kingdoms. And just like in Europe, they had beef. They went to war. When one tribe defeated another, it was normal in war to take prisoners. Some of those prisoners were traded to foreign allies, like the Portugal, Britain, or Spain. But here's the key. They weren't thinking we're selling out our own people. It was the enemy versus the enemy, the same as other nations did. That's like saying the Russians sold out the Irish just because they're both white. Make that make sense. They're different people, different cultures, different languages, the same as Africans. So selling an enemy tribe to a foreign nation was strategic warfare, not betrayal. Why do people push that lie? I think it's because it's easier to blame Africans than to face how Europe and America industrialized human suffering. Our story is deeper than the lie.
Black Americans don't have anything in common with Africans. We shouldn't try to claim African culture. We have something distinct, and we don't have anything in common with Africans. So this is actually a take that I don't agree with. I had a conversation with a friend of mine over the weekend, and we kind of had this debate as to whether black people here in the United States should actually connect with the continent of Africa. Is Pan-Africanism still relevant in 2020? So I would argue, everything from the way that we practice Christianity to the way we cook our food, even the way that we speak English, it has an African influence on the syntax structure that many black Americans use currently. Even if you go to places like South Carolina, you look at the Geechee and the Gullah people, they still retain a lot of Africanisms in their culture. More so than that, when you go into like many of southern congregations of Baptist churches, the way that we worship is akin to even how people practice Santeria, the way they invoke spirits. We do that same thing in our churches. So I would argue that we're American Africans. We are people in America, but we still have that African lineage. We still have those phenotypes. And that's another thing as well. I've had people say that black Americans don't even look African. Then I have to ask you, what does it even mean to look African? Because if you go throughout West Africa and you look at the Fulani, for example, or you look at the Yoruba, for example, or you look at the people in the Congo, or you look at the Dogon, or you look at the Mende people, all of them have various distinct phenotypes. There isn't a one single monolithic phenotype that you can just designate as West African. It's polytypic. So when people say that, I think it shows just a lack of knowledge about history. It shows the fact that they don't understand the influx, especially after the 1650s, of African people being incorporated into this country. Places like Richmond, Virginia, Charleston, South Carolina, Maryland, New Orleans had an influx of people coming in from Africa, all from the Bight of Biafra all the way to the Windward Coast and up to the Senegambian were coming into this country. Matter of fact, in parts of South Carolina up until about the 1720s, there were so many Wolof people, and in Senegal, Islam is big, that in parts of South Carolina, Arabic was a lingua franca and a way for people to transfer knowledge and write down stuff. So we very much are still Africans. We just changed. But when people say that black Americans shouldn't even call themselves African Americans, or we have no connection to Africa, I fervently disagree.
I don't really know to whose benefit this AA or Black American versus Africans agenda is. I don't know who it benefits. But I will say that I find it, as a Black American, I just find it so offensive. Let me give you guys a couple of examples. There have been some people coming online talking about, Black American actors versus actors from like the UK, and saying, oh, well, the best actors are actually not even from America, they're from UK. And they're talking about, Damson Idris Elba, David Oyelowo, and probably Cynthia Erivo. And the reason why making a statement like this is so offensive is that those people who I just named would not even be able to get a job in America if it wasn't for Samuel L. Jackson, Denzel Washington, Spike Lee, Tyler Perry, in lots of ways. So to sit up there and say, oh, we can come into what you're doing and we can displace you and we can treat you all and say that you're nothing, when the reason that there is an industry for Black folks to have representation is because of Black Americans. It's offensive. It's disgusting. Okay. Oscar Micheaux, the granddaddy of Black film, did the first Black feature film in 1919. That's over 100 years ago. Okay. So for someone to come in and try to say, like, what we've done to build an industry where our representation matters, that we created jobs, we've done all these things. It's for people to disrespect us. Like, that's a major issue that I have. And if you can't understand that from, say, the film in Hollywood, let's put it into sports. Let's do sports, right? You can't send a young person right now into the NBA and not understand that the reason why they can get $100 million contract is for the money that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar didn't get, the money that Moses Malone didn't get, the money that Daryl Dawkins didn't get. Now, you take somebody like a Michael Jordan who has transcended the sport. He's done all of these things. Now you go and you take somebody from Serbia and they come over to America and become a professional basketball. Even though they are not Black, they step on the shoulders of Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan made the NBA more profitable. The money that Moses Malone didn't get, Dr. J didn't get, Muggsy Bogues didn't get, a lot of the money that the people didn't get, those young guys are getting that right now. But they're getting it because of the sacrifices that somebody else has made. And this is why it's offensive. People do try to say that Black Americans don't have culture, or no, you're not good at this, or you're not good at that. You are walking through the doors that we built. You are putting your feet on the table after you've walked into the house that we built and paid for. We paid for the couch that you're sitting on, and we're paying for the couch that you got your feet up on, right? So it's like, put some respect on Black Americans. And so this question is like, well, who's benefiting? I have no idea who's benefiting, but I know when I'm at an event with, whether I'm with my Hamptonians, I graduated from Hampton, or I'm out with other different people, we don't sit back and try to degrade other people of the Black diaspora. We're not sitting there going, that Usain Bolt, whatever. We're not saying that. We love Usain and we love his athleticism. We're not going, we'd like him more if he wasn't Jamaican. We don't say stuff like that. We're not up there saying, you know what, them Nigerians, there's something wrong with them. We don't talk like that. So maybe the real question is that Africans should ask each other, why do they hate on Black Americans so much? Because we all know it's not because of the culture. We can check that box all day long.
So, after listening to some of those clips I have played for you, let's just put it clear. So first, let's acknowledge the ignorance on both sides, yeah? And let's just try to be fair enough. And when we talk about the ignorance on both sides, so for many Black Americans, Africans are painted through Western media as a place of poverty. You've heard them say that in Africa, they don't have food, they don't have clothes, they don't have school. So yeah, a place of famine, a place of war, and a place of corruption. Rarely do they see Africa's innovation, Africa's culture, Africa's resilience, and Africa's brilliance. And this distortion makes it hard to see Africa as home. With the human ego at play, you don't want to be associated with a place of famine, of corruption, of war, and all those bad, qualities. So there is no source of pride for them. And meanwhile, a lot of Africans grow up hearing negative stereotypes for African Americans or Black people in America as being lazy, violent, and they lack culture. That is what we're being actually taught and told. And let's be honest, a lot of this comes from colonial education and media designed to do exactly that. And what is that? That is to divide. Yeah. So both groups meet each other carrying the baggage of lies, of stereotypes, and misunderstanding. Instead of recognizing a brother or a sister, they see a stranger. And in worst case scenario, they see an enemy. Okay? So, but then we need to go deeper and ask ourselves, why is there a divide? Why is there the divide? So for African Americans, and some actually are now denouncing that the transatlantic slave trade did not happen, which I feel like it's an insult to the ancestors, their own ancestors who suffered through that. Yeah. So for them, the transatlantic slave trade really severed ties to Africa. The names, the languages, religion, history was wiped. So out of the need to survive, out of survival, they build a new identity in America. Okay, that's why I don't usually have a problem with them having and wanting to recognize themselves as Americans and having all the benefits of being an American. Yeah. And their pain is not just racism, it's also the wound of being cut off from, let's be honest, their ancestral home way back in time. But then for Africa and Africans, the story is different. Yes, colonialism did destroy and exploit, but Africans stayed on the land. They kept most of their cultures, their ethnic identities. And even if that happened under oppression, at least they did try to stay within their roots. Okay, so when Africans and African Americans or Black Americans meet, they don't always recognize the depth of each other's trauma. Yeah, both are traumatized by the same master in different ways. Yeah, at different intervals of time during different times in history. So they don't speak the same historical language. Yeah? And now, if we were to talk about how we see things like racism differently, for Black Americans, racism is the air they breathe. It is systemic. It is institutional. From slavery to Jim Crow to redlining to mass incarcerations to police brutality. It's not just about isolated hates of hatred. It's about a system designed to keep them down. And that's why when Black Americans speak about racism, it's heavy for them. It's generational. It's everywhere. And it has had an impact. It has had an impact on them socially, economically, and also even spiritually. Yeah. And that's why that will tell you why there comes a time when stats show that African immigrants tend to outperform the Black Americans. I mean, because of people that have faced these inhumane acts for a longer time versus people. And let's talk about Africans. So Africans on the other side, how do they see racism? Often they grow up in majority black communities, okay? And that tells why they don't even recognize themselves. They don't recognize their blackness. Because where they come from, blackness isn't a big deal. It's everybody is black. You have nothing to claim about being black because nobody isn't. Okay. So racism isn't part of their daily lives until the moment they leave Africa. And when they come to the US or Europe, some at first see racism as just prejudice, okay? And something you can overcome by maybe working hard. That tells you why they actually are just workaholics. They come to work. After all, the intention for them moving to Europe, moving to America, is first of all to just work hard. And they have gone to a stranger's land. It's not their home. They're there to work, to change their lives, to change their families' fortunes, if I can say. And so they come to a place where the white majority culture, let me call it a white culture, is the one that is way successful. And the reason why you came there is to try and seek greener pastures and become successful. So you try to you find yourself instinctively lining up with your slave masters and colonial masters because you're looking for what they have. So it's not that they don't particularly recognize black people. No, they're after kind of following their dreams. So they try to work hard because they think by just working hard you will outdo racism. Okay, and then they quickly or eventually realize that over time there is no degree, no hard work, no status can shield you from anti-blackness, because the global agenda here is anti-blackness. And that's why you realize that eventually when African immigrants settle in the US and then they have their kids or then even their kids, then those are the people that try to resonate with African Americans, okay, or Black Americans. But the earlier generations, those that just arrived as immigrants, and the next generation are solely there to work, and they always know they are not in their home. So you would understand why they feel, they have a totally different mindset. Okay, so the difference in perspective is why Black Americans feel that Africans are dismissive or naive, and Africans may feel Black Americans are they complain too much. But both are actually wrong. Yeah, both are speaking from different lived experiences. Okay, and where does this friction come in? Where does the tension now explode? Huh? So Black Americans look at Africans and say, you wouldn't be here if we had not fought for civil rights. We took the bullets, the lynchings, the dogs, the prisons, okay, so that immigration doors were open for you. But instead of coming to stand with us, you look down on us, you stereotype us, and you don't show us respect. I think that's what many of these Black Americans claim. Okay, and but what do Africans say on the other side? When they speak back, they say, we also suffered under colonialism. We continue to suffer under colonialism. We fought independence struggles. We resisted Europe's chains. So they don't think that America gave them anything freely. They have fought for it. And sometimes we don't understand why you focus on, racism instead of just building. That's how they try to see it. Sometimes they feel like these people just complain because they miss out on the lived experiences of these generational Black Americans. And, just like that, having to speak from different tones, the enemy wins. And the enemy is division, suspicion, and resentment. But there is a bigger truth. There is a bigger truth. And here is the where the truth, I think, whether you're in Atlanta, in Georgia, in America, whether you're in Lagos, Nigeria, in Africa, Kingston, in Jamaica, the enemy is basically the same. The enemy is the same. White supremacy, colonial legacy, and global anti-blackness as their agenda. The forms may differ. You may go to the US, and what you see there is white supremacy that gives racism and the kind of prejudices that come with it. But when you go to Africa, you find the colonial legacy that gives the vibes that it gives. But what do you realize? They may differ in their forms, but the root is the same. The driver is the same. The one implementing all that on these people, they're in America, in the Caribbean, in Africa, is just the same. The system wants these people divided. And it benefits when Africans and Black Americans argue about who has the real struggles. It benefits when we compete for crumbs instead of uniting to get the full share. It does benefit the enemy here. And imagine what would happen if Africans and African Americans or Afro-Caribbeans, Afro-Latinos, every corner of the Black world stood together, shared resources, shared knowledge, shared the struggles. No more division, okay? And no more looking down upon each other, and no more stereotypes. We would really acquire far more than what we can individually, okay? So, the call here is to, it's time to stop letting ignorance dictate our relationship, okay? And to educate each other and speak together, not at each other. Let's start seeing each other as, you know, extensions of the same story, okay? Like different chapters, one book. The African American struggle and the African struggle are two sides of the same coin, basically. Because at the end of the day, whether you call yourself African, Black American, FBA, whatever the label, you still are a target of the same system. And only unity, not division, can free all of us here. And the more we think we can fight to free ourselves individually as, you know, the divided categories, the more the struggle will take long and to ever win. Yeah. So you basically ask yourself next time, with the divide, who is winning? Who is winning? Whether you want to recognize yourself as African, African American, Black American, FBA, if we divide, who wins? To share with me what you think about this in the comment section below. If you love the video, then give it a thumbs up and share it as well. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to become a part of us. So until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.